They number more than 1 billion in the US alone, each with its own personality and its own sense of being. We see them in every state, every city, and practically every town in America. And yet, for all intents and purposes, they remain an enigma to us. They are the farm animals: cows, pigs, sheep, chickens, and turkeys. They are the animals we use for meat, yet seldom get to meat. Animals, we are now discovering, lead rich and complex emotional lives. Join us on one man's journey, a voyage of discovery into the emotional world of farm animals. Jeffrey Masson is a former psychoanalyst who, nearly 2 decades ago, turned his attentions to writing about the emotions of non-human animals. His New York Times best-selling book, When Elephants Weep, established undeniably that wild animals from all corners of the globe lead lives that are filled with a complex array of emotions, many similar to our own. Challenged by his publisher Random House to go where no one had gone before, to research and write a popular book about the emotions of farm animals, he reluctantly accepted, and soon set out on a quest that would take him around the world and to 12 countries. Yet his first stop was a sanctuary for farm animals in Vacaville, California, less than 100 miles from his Berkeley home.
Come on, sweetie.
Kim Sturla is the co-founder of Animal Place.
Kim, this is a beautiful place.
Thank you. It is, and especially this time of year when it's so green, it's just,
Oh,
it's gorgeous.
So do you mean to tell me that all the animals here have been rescued?
Each one has really come from, a different situation. Some auction yards, actually some from research laboratories. And every animal, there was nowhere else for them to go. So we're really kind of their last resort here.
So you would say that every animal here has had some history of personal abuse?
Most of the animals here, if not all, have had a real tough beginning, and it's just that much more important that once they get to Animal Place that we try to provide them with a secure, loving environment where they're going to live out the rest of their lives.
And do some of them, can you tell they've been abused in the way they react to you, or does it differ for each and every animal?
Each and every one. Vina is one of the pigs. She was terribly abused, and we got her as an adult. It has taken her years. She's in her about 13 years old now, and
wow.
Only the past couple of years will she actually let me pet her and be relaxed.
So it's a question of trust.
It's all about trust.
Do you think she looks at you and thinks, I don't trust this species, but this woman, Kim, she seems okay? Do you think they have thought processes like that?
Oh my gosh, without a doubt.
Obviously, I wouldn't need to convince you that these farm animals have emotions.
There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that those animals have a wide array of emotions, very similar to dogs and cats. And then Sally, she was the dump on the road by the mailbox.
As a seasoned author with 24 books to his credit, Jeffrey knows full well that you can't write about the emotions of any animal until you first meet and get to know them. His first farm animal experience, Val and Sussie.
Hello, sweetie girl. And they don't have tusks.
Oh, the males do.
The males do.
Huh?
Now, are the males different than the females in terms of their temperament?
No.
They're also sweet.
Oh, very.
Good-natured, and you can play with them.
And here's my favorite, Jeffrey. She is the sweetest pig one could possibly meet, Sussie.
Sussie, come here, Sussie. Sussie.
They had their little difficulties introducing them.
Oh, so they weren't together. Oh, Sussie.
What made this experience so special for Jeffrey was learning from Kim about Val and Sussie's history. If not for Animal Place, their lives would be different indeed. In fact, they wouldn't be alive at all.
Little Sussie and Valerie were pigs that were born inside a research laboratory. A cage is all they knew. You have to understand that these little pigs had never been outside.
Hi. Okay, who wants to be cooled down? Come on.
They had never felt the sunshine on them. They had never had the ground to root in. They'd never had grass. They had always lived their entire life inside a little cage measuring probably 4 feet square. That was their existence. So they came to Animal Place and were a bit in shock because there were all these other animal sounds and they all of a sudden had freedom. They could do whatever they wanted to do. They arrived during the summer months, and I quickly found that one of the things they love to do is to be cooled off when it gets too hot.
Get you cooled down.
Normally, Val and Sussie would be cooling themselves off with mud baths, as pigs do, but they were recently spayed, and the stitches hadn't healed yet, so we wanted to keep them clean. So when it gets real hot here, I make these big, huge ice cube blocks in our freezer, and I call them over to me, and I just rub them down with ice cubes, and they thoroughly, thoroughly enjoy it. As I think almost any kid would when it's a hot day, if they can't jump in a pool. And yeah, just ice them all down and we just kind of play.
Sussie.
They get silly and romp around and I get silly with them, and it's just a playtime for both of us. People come here for tours and they think, gosh, what lucky animals. Well, you know, I see it the other way around. I mean, I feel so fortunate that I'm allowed to take care of them. I'm allowed to be in their company, that I can be with them every day and interact with them. It doesn't get much better than that to know you saved their life and ensure that the remainder of their life is going to be good.